Okay, so I'm here in the woods, Southern New Hampshire. I'm gonna do a 24-hour survival challenge. So I'm gonna spend 24 hours right now to this time tomorrow. So about 2 days and 1 night in the woods with just this knife. That's it, and the clothes on my back and my shoes and this bandana. So first off, I'm gonna start to make a shelter. I'm going to start to scout out the area for water sources while I'm making the shelter. Right now, it's late summer, early fall. I don't think it'll get too cold tonight, but a fire would be great for the ability to purify water. I think this long pole is going to make a good, roof ridge for my shelter. I'm going to make a very simple debris hut type shelter. I'm thinking I'm going to put it right. I wanted to utilize this hemlock tree because all those branches will help to be added rain protection. But instead, I think I'm going to just lay my shelter right next to it rather than part of it because the ground slopes there and there's that little tree. Now, clearing the area. Simulate the beginning of a longer term survival situation. That's why at the end of the 24 hours, yeah, I could just sit here for 24 hours and be hungry and thirsty. But I want to see how well off I can put myself at the end of the 24 hours to see if everything's going good or if it's going not so good. So a big part of survival is about conserving energy. You want to work smarter, not harder. And you want to move kind of methodically and slowly when you don't have a good food source. You don't want to be running around and rushing most of the time. So to cut down something like this is what we're going to use as our ridge pole. To cut something down like this with a knife, if you bend it a lot and then you put it under stress and then you just rock the blade back and forth, it makes it a lot easier than you do it the other way. And now to get to the last section, we utilize a method known as batoning, where I use a heavy piece of wood. I need to make a good baton. That's going to be one of the first things I do. And like that. And that's going to require too much effort. Same thing over here. Top part, bend it under stress. Kind of like board, It doesn't have to look good. Just enough to excess. Okay, bring it over here. Way too high. Now, I'm just going to sharpen the bottom part a little bit. Now the reason I chose this, this is the Mora, the wooden handle carbon steel blade. I just carved little lines into the handle so it's easier to hold on to when it's wet and you're sweaty. I went with a small knife because I wanted to show you guys that you don't need like a big Rambo or like hunting style knife, if you will. It'll make certain tasks easier, but you can get by with something like this. Quite frankly, this is easier for doing a lot of things. Well, put it down a little bit. This is a little short. Crap. unfortunately the first one I grabbed was I trimmed it too short. But now we have a good baton stick to use now. Now this is too long. Way too long. It's roughly about this high. Now you measure it with wherever you're going to sleep it.
So this is good. Your feet don't need that much space. Then you just need to remember how wide your shoulders, how wide your hips are when you're laying cross branches.
Cool. Okay. So now I'm going to take lots of branches and lay them across like so. Speed this up for you, but when you're laying them on, you know, this is a little unstable when it's just on this. So the ones up here, the big beefy ones, kind of structural, and you want to alternate sides. You just put them all on one side first. Sometimes it'll fall over. Don't do that. Right now I'm just gathering dead branches from the hemlock trees because if I lay them on top, it'll help to stop a lot of the leaf litter from falling through. After I put these on top, I'm going to kind of rake the forest floor and layer all of that on top of the shelter. Now, if you've noticed during the time lapse when I've been building this, I'm only going for dead stuff that's on the ground, stuff that's easy to break, or stuff that I can break in between those two trees over there. Because survival is kind of like a lazy man's game. I want to build this shelter in a way that like an 11 or a 12-year-old kid could build it in about the same amount of time. I don't want to expend that much energy, and I don't want to do anything that's too dangerous. I could like slip, hurt myself. So I'm trying to do this with the least amount of energy expenditure as is possible. I'm just getting stuff that's close by. It's fine to use kind of rotted, dead stuff, as long as it's not bug infested. You know, go for it. Just kind of, you're working with nature, and you want to use the least amount of energy as possible to gather this stuff. If I had an axe with me, I'd still be doing this predominantly. Certain situations where an axe would come in handy, but right now I'd be doing this unless I'm trying to build a cabin or more involved shelter. So again, work smarter, not harder. I just spent 3 minutes cutting down this little branch that will work as an improvised rake so that I can collect the leaf litter a lot easier. Now, if I remember correctly, you want to have at least 3 feet or 1 meter of leaf cover of debris on the outside of your shelter. If you have at least 3 feet or a meter, it'll be pretty much waterproof for all intents and purposes, because all the leaves, the water will run off before it goes through. It'll have to pour for a very long time for it to soak through that. A good way to tell if you have a spot that needs more leaves, if you crawl inside and look for light that's shining through. If you can see like a lot of light shining through in any spots, you gotta beef up those spots. This is far from finished. Okay, so this is not an adequate amount of leaves. However, it's gonna get dark in 3 or 4 hours, and there's hardly a cloud in the sky, so I'm not really too worried about rain. If it looks like it's gonna start to rain, I'll have about an hour at least from, you know, what the clouds look like to be able to pile way more leaves on this. So right now, this is adequate for a rainless night, and I plan on putting more leaves on it right before I go to sleep, but I can do that in the dark. Right now, while I have daylight, I'm going to scout out the area. I know there's water. I know there's a river down there. We're in Southern New Hampshire, so if you walk like a mile or two in any direction, you're going to hit a river or a pond. The problem is the water, you can't drink it. It's not clean. We got to purify it. So I'm going to scout and try to find some wood to try to do a bow drill fire with, so I can make fire. Also, I'm going to try to improvise or find some sort of container so that I can bring the water to here, make a fire, use the fire to purify the water, because all I have is a knife. So that's really the only method I got going for me to get rid of any bacterial. Also, what you should do, and what I'm going to do, is you want to fill the inside, like almost so it looks like you can't crawl in with leaves. If it's really going to be cold and it's a real survival situation, you want it filled up to like here with leaves. Yeah, you're going to get bugs on you, but the leaves will keep you warm. This setup, the reason it's low and small, this one's a little big actually. It's like a giant sleeping bag made out of leaves and sticks. You want it to be really close to you. Yeah, if you have a sleeping bag, you can make it bigger like this. I don't have a sleeping bag, but it's really early September, so hopefully it doesn't get that cold. And I'm banking on a fire. Light a fire right here, have the heat going in. Hopefully we can get a fire going tonight.
This is where I'm sleeping.
She's the smart one. She brought a little bit more than just a knife.